Hello, ninjas. How's it going? Hello, ninjas. How's it going? Hope you're keeping well today. I'm getting confused. I did that twice because I was looking at the stream, but there was a delay. Alrighty. So how's everyone keeping today? So as normal, we're going to wait for a few minutes so that more people can arrive to the stream. But one thing we're going to do a bit differently today is while we're waiting, I'm going to play some games that you guys provide me. So, yes, welcome. Now, let's see. Welcome, Blake. Welcome, William. Welcome. Is it AD? Are you here today, AD? Welcome, Crazy Kid. How's it going, everyone? So, I noticed Blake has mentioned he's done some stuff to his Flappy Bird game. I want to see this. Let's have a look-see. Okay. My Flappy Bird, mobile friendly. Let's have a look-see. It should work on computer as well, right, Blake? What's that? This project can detect who is using it to the username block. Sure, that's fine. Start. Ooh, music. Now, how's that volume of the music, guys? Is it too loud? Oh! That was weird. I floated upwards. Oh! Oh! There we go. It's probably because I moused over a button. Now, I was looking in chat, Blake, and it mentions that you've made it so that it goes faster as well. The longer you play. That is cool. We'll have a quick... Oh! Oh! All right. All right, let me check the settings. I turned the volume was a bit loud for me personally. Oh yeah, it's turned it down for you guys as well. Oh, let me turn up the desktop volume for you, because normally I don't do much with music, but today we're going to be doing, I don't do much with audio, but today we're going to be doing a music program, so it's important that you guys can hear what my computer is doing. It's important that it's not too loud for me as well. AJ coding today, very nice, very nice. Does anyone else have a game for me to play? Type it into chat. I'll play a few different games. This is... All right, I've got to try and at least get to the point where... Oh, you've implemented the clouds as well, Blake. Very good. Come on, we can do it. We can get to over 10 to see how faster it gets. Oh, I'm doing better. I'm in the rhythm. Oh, it's just sped up. Oh no. All right. Red button. Is it okay? So Blake, is this a game? Is it a game or is it an animation? The red button. Because preferably I'd like to do... I'll do the red button and then I'll move to Catman Sim music game. All right. Red button, you say.
What to press. What to press.
Green, green.
What do I press? Did I die? Is there anything else, or is it just this animation? Okay, fair enough. We've got... Oh yeah, fair enough. We've got all of this. Got some speak blocks. Those are really useful to use. Alrighty. Let's play Catman Sim. Catman Sim, music game. Music. Ooh. Music 1. Music 2. Stop. Okay, cool. Yep, we've got this changes costume. They all change costume. That's really cool. And then we've got the buttons. Very good. We've got this play sound until done when you send message 1. And play sound until done. Yeah, cool. Very nice. And then 3, stop all. Cool. What's really interesting is that you don't actually need, because this message 1 is broadcasting everywhere, but it's only going to there, right? So you can technically get rid of the broadcasts. Although if you might have plans for those broadcasts for later, which that's fine if you do. Alrighty. Okay, so that's very good, Catman Sim. Very nice indeed. Alrighty, let's do... We had one more request, didn't we? Pi Digits by Darpy Darp. Alrighty. Yep, leave. Darpy Darp. Where is Pi Digits? Aha! Pi Digits. How many digits of pi do you want to see? I'm gonna ask for 4 of them. Very nice. Alright, we'll try that again, and this time I'm gonna ask for 10. Awesome. And now that's 14. Hey, there we go. Let's have a look and see how you did that. Ask. And you got all the different costumes. Yeah, you did it with different costumes. Just removed different numbers. Cool. Set pi digits to answer. Switch costume to pi digits plus 1. Yeah, very nice, Darpy Darp. Cool. Alrighty. Catman Sim. Oh yeah, we did you already. Alrighty. Anyone else got any games for me to play before we start the session? Very good. All right, so let's make a start. So, as always, I think there's no one new so far today. But as always, if you can, set up with 2 screens if you're watching this for the first time, so that you can have my stream on one of your screens and you can be doing your coding on the other one. So you can do this with like a TV and a laptop, something like that. If you spam in chat, I'll time you out. Make sure you keep things clean. Everyone use an online version of Scratch if at all possible. And to do that, you start off in Google, you type in Scratch. You click the first thing that comes up, the top of the list, Scratch, Imagine, Program, Share, and then you click Create, top left corner. That's how you get to Scratch. All right, so while everyone's just getting their Scratch projects started, so everyone just give their project a name, call it music or something like that, music program. Everyone click Share. So that I can find your games if we need to fix them. And if you need help with your project, just make sure you go File, Save Now in the top left corner, and then write into chat. My Scratch name is this. Can you help me with my game? Or something like that. My game doesn't work. My Scratch name is this. All right. If you have any problems, let me know. Thank you very much for the reminder, Blake. I'll take down the reminder now, the starting soon sign. There we go. We're all good to go. All right. So let's get right into it. So what we're going to do is first things first is I'm going to show you the game, the end result. So what we've got is a method of creating a string of notes. So first of all, actually, you know what? I'm trying to think. I might just do this with you as we go. So it'll be a surprise. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to make a simple instrument. So we're going to get rid of the cat. So click on the delete button just to the top right of sprite 1 over here, wiggling it over my mouse now. And we're going to add some, and we're going to add, let's add a nice background. So go to the bottom right corner of your screen, click on where it says choose a backdrop, click on that. You can choose anything you like. There's even a little music button that you can get to some different music backdrops. I'm going to choose this one. I quite like the look of this one. It's all purple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a sprite that already has a bunch of sounds in it. So in a previous lesson, I showed you how to add a sound into a sprite. To save some time, we're going to add a sprite that already comes with a bunch of sounds in it. So bottom right corner, click on choose a sprite, the little cat face there, and click on music. And what we're going to do now is we're going to grab, you can grab either, actually, yeah, grab the guitar. Grab this acoustic guitar here. All right, so we've got an acoustic guitar. That looks very nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at the sounds in this sprite. So to do that, you go to the top left corner where it says sounds, just next to where it says costumes and code. Now this sprite comes with 8 different guitar sounds. If you want to hear what those sound like, you hit play. And you can do that for each of the sounds if you want. And this is how you would also add new sounds. If you wanted to add new sounds, what you'd do is you'd go to the bottom left corner, click on choose a sound like we've done before, and you can go through all of the sounds there and add in new sounds. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to rename all of these sounds just to be numbers. Now the reason that we're doing this will become clear later. But just for now, click on the top sound, which is called C guitar, and we're just going to call this 1. And we're going to do the same thing for the next one and call it 2. To rename a sound, you click on the sound on the left side where you've got the list of sounds, and then the top left corner, just underneath where it says sounds, there is the name of that sound. How's my volume for you guys? Is it quiet or loud? Would you like it? Yeah, I can adjust it a little bit on my stream setup. Okay. That's all looking good. I'll give you a bit of time just to make sure you've done that. Once you're done renaming all the sounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, click on the Code tab in the top left corner. Alrighty, cool, just right. I'm glad. Okay, so what we're going to do now, it's a bit quiet, Blake. I'll turn it up a little bit. Okay, we'll see how that goes. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you something I haven't showed you before. We're going to make a list. So we've used variables before. Variables can store one piece of information, right? And that piece of information can be like a number, or it can be a word, or it could be like a name, and that's what the variable stores. A list can store multiple pieces of information, which kind of makes sense because it's called a list. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the left side, click on Variables, which is the dark orangey category on the left. And we're going to click on Make a List. There should be just underneath where it says Hide Variable. We're going to make a list. And this list is going to be called Guitar Sequence. Okay, so once you've done that, you should see this little guitar sequence list come up on the screen, and currently it's empty because we haven't put anything in it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a piece of code that can put numbers in this list. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me just get the right thing. All right, cool. So we're going to go to Events, and we're going to grab, which is the yellowy category on the left, and we're going to grab When Space Key Pressed. We're going to put that, we're going to drag that out into the code area in the middle of the screen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Variables, where we were before, and we're going to grab underneath where it says Guitar Sequence, it should say Add Thing to Guitar Sequence. So grab Add Thing to Guitar Sequence. And we're going to click on when space, so we've got this when space key pressed. We want to change this, where it says space key, we want to click on the white triangle, and we want to scroll down and find 1. So that when the 1 key pressed, so what we're going to do then is we're going to click on where it says Add Thing to Guitar Sequence. Click on that. And we're going to add 1 to Guitar Sequence. Okay. So, and that's And then what I want you to do is just press the one button on your keyboard a couple of times. Now what you should be noticing is that each time you do, it adds an item to our list. And the item is 1. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to make some more of these codes, and we want to tie each button. So if we just right click on the when and then normal click on duplicate, so when one key pressed, look for that when, right click on it, then normal click on duplicate. Now we've got 2 copies of this code, and then you can very easily change it. So you can click on the white triangle and change that to 2. And then we want to add 2 to guitar sequence. And then when we hit 2, it adds 2 to guitar sequence. 151 times, Blake. Don't worry, we're going to do something with this list a bit later. All right. So currently, and so what we want to do is we want to do this for all the numbers going up to 8. So you can grab the lines of code each time, but I find it much easier to right-click duplicate on the when in when something key pressed, and duplicate, and then just change it so it says 3. When 3 key pressed, add 3 to guitar sequence, and then just do that all the way up to 8. I'll give you guys some time just to do that. I'm just going to do it on the screen here. Now these are all individual codes here, so they don't need to connect up with each other. They all have different starting points. Okay, so we've got ourselves a bunch of different codes that add to a list. So what we want to do now, actually, we'll keep going with this. What we want to do now is we want to make a new code when space key pressed. So go back to events, the yellowy category on the left, grab when space key pressed. Oh, I haven't updated some of these. Let me make sure I've got all my numbers right. That's looking better. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to grab a forever loop. So we get a forever loop from control. We put it underneath when space key pressed. Now, I'm going to give you this code, and then I'm going to talk to you about it, how it works. So before we make this code, we're going to go to Variables, the orangey category on the left, and we're going to click Make a Variable. You can get rid of the My Variable variable if you want to as well, if you already know how, or you can leave it if you don't care. We're going to click on Make a Variable. It needs to be for all sprites, and this variable is going to be called Sequence Place. Now, I'll tell you what this is for later. For now, let's just all make that variable together. Sequence Place. Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're now going to get a set sequence place to 0 and put it inside the forever loop. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a repeat loop. So to get a repeat loop, you go to Control, which is the orangey category on the left. We're going to drag out if then. No, not if then. We want repeat, sorry. Repeat 10. So we're going to grab out a repeat 10. And we're going to put it right underneath where it says set sequence place to 0. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to variables. Actually, yeah. We're going to go back to variables, and we're going to grab change sequence place by 1. And we're going to put that inside our repeat. And then finally, and this is, and then we've only got 2 more lines left. We're going to go to sound, which is the purplish, pinkish category. And we're going to grab start sound. And yours might say start sound 8 or something like that. We're going to go to variables, the orangey category. We're going to grab this circular sequence place and put it inside where it says start sound. And then the last thing we're going to do, we're going to go to events, the yellowy category, control. I'm going to grab a wait 1 second. Okay, that was a lot of code. Are you guys all with me? Hopefully you guys have followed all that. I'll make this code nice and big on screen. So let's talk about what this does. So we have 2 things. We have a list and we have a variable. The list is called guitar sequence and the variable is called sequence place. So what we're going to do is we're going to empty out our list. We need our list to be empty for this to work. So we're going to go to events. We're going to grab a when green flag clicked. We're going to go back to variables. And we need to delete all of guitar sequence when we start the game. Okay, because some of you guys have 151 things in your lists. So we need to clear that out. Repeat's going to change, actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to... wait 1 second. I've done this wrong. That's okay. Okay. So yeah, let's hit space and it should actually work. All right, and that plays forever. So if you hit stop, it should stop that. So I've made so what we need to do. So what this does is it creates. So you can see sequence place goes up by 1 every time, and so we need to add something to this code, and then I'll explain it because it'll make more sense then because I've missed something. So we should already be in variables, okay? So what we need to do is we need to grab, let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, item 1 of guitar sequence. We want to put that in the start sound block. So we grab item 1 of guitar sequence from variables, and then where we've got this 1, that's where we put sequence place. Okay, so let me explain what this does. First of all, we have 8 working buttons, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different buttons. And when we press those buttons, it adds numbers into a list. Do that with me now. So let's just press some buttons, and you can see if you press a bunch of buttons, it adds these numbers into a list. So that's the first part of our code. We can create a list. The list is made up of numbers, and the numbers are always either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. We don't add anything else other than those 8 numbers. So then we have this code here. Now we have a new variable called sequence place. And what sequence place does is it keeps track of what number on each list we are, on the list guitar sequence is, right? So what we should be able to do now is once we've added to our list, we should be able to hit space and it will play our list. To click somewhere else. So what it's doing, can you see the sequence place is moving up? It's going all the way up, and it will keep doing that 10 times. And then it will start again. And that's because we're repeating this sequence 10 times. So it will only play the first 10 items of your list. So we can easily fix that if we grab length of guitar sequence. So variables on the left, if we're still in that section, we just grab length of guitar sequence. And we put that into where it says repeat 10. Okay? Alrighty. Still with me? Anyone having any problems? So, it doesn't look like much code, but it's quite complicated, isn't it? So, what this is now going to do is instead of repeating 10 times, it's going to repeat as many times as, write your answers in chat, how many times is this going to repeat each time we run it? Write your answers in chat now. Hope you've got your answers in, because the answer is it runs it however long our list is. This number will always be how long our list is. So we have, our list is currently 27 long, so it's going to repeat this 27 times. If I add some more to my list, so now that my list is 51 items long, it's going to run it 51 times. This sequence place keeps track of where we are in the list. And now we're going to do one more thing. This is going to make this sound much better. Click on wait 1 second. Click on the 1. And we're going to type in 0.15. Okay? So let's hit go on that and let's see what that sounds like. So what you should be able to see if you're looking at my screen is we've got this list here. If I add more to it, it gets longer. This sequence place variable keeps track of where we are in the list so that it plays everything in the list. And when we hit the green flag, it empties the list so we can make a new piece of music. So, hopefully you guys have all changed your wait into 0.15 seconds so that it sounds a bit better. It's not quite so slow. Actually sounds kind of nice considering we just put in random notes. So, what else could we use lists for? Write into chat. What else could we use lists for? I'm just going to keep this code up on screen just to make sure if anyone's catching up. Don't worry, I'm checking chat. It's all good. Okay. So, hope you've got your answers in for what we could use lists for. Lists are really useful. You could use them for an inventory to keep track of all the items that your character has in a game. You could use them for all sorts of things. So you could use that whenever. So if you have like a Minecraft inventory, you could use a list to keep track of not only all of the items in your inventory, but also how many of them you have. You could use lists to keep track of stats, like in a Pokemon game. You could use lists to keep track of all that. So there's lots of things that you could use lists for in like a video game. Variables don't always cut it. Sometimes you need something a bit more complicated. Yes, Blake, very good. You've got 8,000 things on your list. All right. So let's switch to something a little. Let's take a bit of a break. I dropped you in the deep end. I gave you some fairly complicated code, but I wanted to make sure we had time for it because I keep running over time recently. What we're going to do now is we're going to do something a lot simpler, just for a bit of fun. We're going to go to the bottom right corner. We're going to click on Choose a Sprite. And we're going to look for music. We're going to add the keyboard. Or you can add the saxophone. Or you can add one of the other guitars. Entirely up to you. And then what we're going to do, so if you have a look at the sounds, again, you should have about 8 different sounds. And we don't have to rename these this time because we're not putting them in a list. What we're going to do is just make some simple code. So we're going to go to Events, the yellowy category on the left. We're going to go to When Space Key Pressed, drag that out into the keyboard sprite. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to program this keyboard to play notes when I put buttons on my keyboard. Okay? So I'm going to choose the top row of my keyboard, the one that starts with Q. So the first note is going to be Q, and I'm going to go to sound, and I'm going to start sound. And I'm going to select the first sound on the list. So you can do this with the saxophone, or you can do this with one of the other guitars as well. And you can do this with other buttons on your keyboard if you want. I'm going to do it with the top row. And then, as before, you can right-click on the when in when Q key pressed to duplicate the whole thing. And then I'm going to make the next one, after Q comes W. And I'm going to make that play the next sound. Oh, whoops. Deleted that. And just go through and do this with all the keys until you've used up all 8 of the sounds. I'll give you guys some time to do that now. I'm going to be, after E comes R, after R comes T, after T comes Y. I keep wanting to put it in alphabetical order, but that's not how keyboards work. All right. I want to make sure that this is the F elect piano. This is the G elect piano. This is the next one. I'm going to go down to U. I'm going to choose the 7th sound. And the final one on my keyboard is going to be I. And choose the last sound. So now, this whole top row should play different notes on the keyboard. So let's see if it works. There we go. W comes after Q. Yes. What did you learn in school? My English teacher. Yeah. Keyboards are confusing. Actually, it's interesting. I haven't looked up, but I always heard that the reason that all the letters are randomized on the keyboard is it was just to slow down the typists, because when they were typing too quickly on the early typewriters, before we had keyboards, we had typewriters. The typewriters would jam, so they mixed up all the letters. That's a myth that I've heard, and I don't know if it's true. The one that I heard before that was that these were supposed to be like the most popular letters were easier to get to, but I don't think that's true, because I don't know. Seems a bit odd that J is in the middle. J doesn't come up very often when we're typing. All right, so now we should have 2 working instruments. One that we can just play. And the other one that we can put into a sequence and that plays. So you could hit spacebar. Cool. All right. So, there's a bunch of different things that we can do here with music. So obviously you can 10,000 in your list, Blake. My goodness. If you end up like accidentally clicking the button to delete all of your guitar sequence, you'll be like, "No, my list. I spent so long making that really long." All right. And the other thing as well, you'll notice that we are using a really simple way of storing the information in our list. You should always, that will allow you to make longer lists. This is just a general kind of idea about how coding works. It might not actually matter that much these days because our computers are so powerful. It doesn't really matter if we make fairly lengthy names for things in lists, but it just makes things a little bit more efficient. All right. So what we've got now is we've got a working what's called sequencer that will play musical sequences for us, and we've got a working instrument. Now let's do some buttons that will allow us to make our sequence play faster or slower. So first things first, we need to make a variable for the speed at which our music plays. So to do that, we're going to go to variables, the dark orange category on the left. We're going to make a new variable. Now, do you guys know what the word tempo means? T-E-M-P-O. By the way, how's everyone going? Is anyone stuck? Anyone running into any problems? Let me know in the chat if anyone's struggling, all right? When you're all ready, make that variable, tempo. Tempo, the word tempo means speed when you're talking about music. So if something is low tempo, it's slow music. If something is high tempo, it's fast music. So you're learning a bit about music as well as coding today. All right. So, okay. Where do we want to put our tempo variable? I'll give you a clue. It's definitely in this block of code when space key pressed in our guitar sprite. Everyone, write your answers now. Where do you think we should put our tempo variable? Alrighty. Hopefully that's given you enough time. The answer is we need to get this round tempo variable, and we need to slot this right into where it says wait 0.15 seconds. Okay? So now, when we make a new variable, the first thing that we need to do, yeah, got it right, very good. The first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we have a starting value for our variable. So we need to go across to when green flag clicked, and we need to set tempo to 0.15. So we've got to put it under when green flag clicked, so that when we start our program, it knows what tempo we should start at. We should start at 0.15. You grab this set variable to something. It might say sequence place for you. Grab that out, put it underneath where it says delete all of guitar sequence, which is underneath when green flag clicked, and set tempo. Make sure you can change it to tempo by clicking on this white triangle here. Set tempo to 0.15. Okay. So now we need to make some buttons that change our tempo. So we can have a bit of a break from coding. Oh yeah, Blake, how big's your list now? We're going to have a break from coding, and we're going to make 2 buttons. So we're going to paint. So bottom right corner, hover over the button that says choose a sprite. We're going to click paint. And we're going to draw a nice box. This is going to be my fast box. So I'm going to make it green, I guess. You can choose whatever colors you like. So to get a box, you click on the rectangle tool after you've clicked paint a sprite, and you drag it, and you can change the size of it until you've got a box that you're happy with. A very good idea is if you want to grab your box and change it, you can click select, click on your box. Remember, always make sure that your sprites are centered. You almost always want your sprites centered. So grab your box and make sure that the little cross in the middle of the box clicks into the little crosshairs in the middle of your drawing area. Then when you're ready, click on text, that little T, and I'm going to call this faster. Got to make sure that the color, top left corner, changes the color. I want that to be black. And again, just like the box, we can change the size of this. You can even nicely center it. That's a bit big. I'll make it a little smaller. If ever you want to change an item that you've made, 12,640, Blake. That's a very long list. Oh, I love it. Okay. So there we go, a nice little faster button. So we need to rename this sprite to be called faster or faster button, whichever you prefer. I'm going to copy this faster button sprite, right click, duplicate. You can draw a new one if you like. I'm just going to change this one. I'll give everyone a bit of time to do that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to rename this the slower button. I'll make sure everyone's got a bit of time. But yeah, when you've got that, drag the buttons to a nice convenient spot. And then, what we want to do is we're going to make some very simple codes. We're going to click on the faster button. We're going to click on events, the yellow category on the left of your screen, and grab a when this sprite clicked line. And then we're going to go to variables, the dark orangey category on the left of the screen. And we're going to grab a change variable by something. Now we don't want to change the sequence place. We want to change, what do we want to change actually? What variable do we want to change to make this song play faster or slower? Hope you get your answers into chat. I'll give you just a little bit more time, especially if people are just catching up with their drawing, because the answer is tempo. Tempo is the variable that we want to change. So we start off at 0.15. So we'll change the speed by 0.01. But do we want to write change tempo by 0.01, or do we want to change tempo by minus 0.01? Write your answers in chat now. What's going to make it go faster? Blake, are you close to crashing your list? Oh, goodness me. All right, I hope you've got your answers in chat, because the answer is minus 0.01. Because this is the weight that we're changing. This is how long the guitar waits between playing each note. So if we want it to happen faster, we actually want to take that weight down and make it smaller. Remember this when you're doing games, when you want things to speed up. Like, just let's say you're spawning enemies or spawning bullets and you want them to speed up, spawn faster. You actually need to remove the amount of time that you wait between doing that spawn. All right, and then we want to do the exact same thing for slower bullets. Now, this is a handy little fast way of doing it. Grab when this sprite clicked, drag it until your mouse goes right over slower bullets, and let go. Your mouse needs to be right over slower button. Right over slower button. Bullets, goodness me. And then when you go into slower button, it will have copied that code. That's a really useful thing to do to save you a bunch of time. And this time round, because we want it to be slower, we're going to make the weight larger. All right, so let's hit the go button, make sure our tempo is there, add a bunch of things to our list, and hit play. Oh, no, wrong thing. Space is to play it. So if I click the slower button, then what happens if I hit the faster button? There we go. It's really interesting because we're dealing with such small amounts of time. We're changing something from 0.15 seconds, so that's like nearly like a tenth of a second. Like it's a bit bigger than that, but you're dealing with these tiny fractions of a second, and even if you make these slight changes, you can tell. All right. So if we had more time, then what we could do is we could add things like drums in. And you already know how to tie that in with the same tempo. And you already know how to make sequences. You could make your own set sequences. So here, the drum beat that I've got right here is just 4 different drum beats. And you'll notice, how long is the wait? It's tempo times 2, which means it waits for each 2 beats, each 2 notes that the guitar plays. So it's not playing at the same speed at the guitar, because it would sound a bit crazy. It would actually sound like this. So I like that a bit better. So you can do things by changing, by getting tempo and then timesing that. by 2 or timesing it by 4. And that will spread out the notes in the music software that you're making. Alrighty. So, yes, that's the end of our session today. Did anyone run into any problems? Words. I can words. Words are fine. Did anyone run into problems? I'm going to check out Darpy Darps. I am ready, Darpy Darp. Oh, music game. I don't know what it's called. Let's check that out. All right. Left arrow to make it slower. Right arrow to make it faster. X to reset song. All right. Space to start. What's your band? It is... I'm trying to think of something funny, and of course my brain goes blank. Insert band name here. What's your song name? Something funny. You'll notice Darpy Darp has done some different amounts for the tempo. Yeah, he's changing the tempo by different amount. So, yeah. And the tempo starts at 1. So, yeah, there we go. So you can kind of mix it up. There we go. Very nice, Darpy Darp. Very nice. I like that you've got the band, insert name here. I like you've got the band. You can put your band name in and your song name. That's very cool. Very cool indeed. All right. Yeah, Crazy Kid. We can absolutely do a game to play on mobile. Yeah. I will... A lot of the games that we do... should work on mobile, funnily enough. Not all of them, but some of them. So, all right, let's check out Yo-Yo Cake. Yo-Yo Cake 51, that's it. Music Studio. Very nice, very nice. This is to make slower, lol, TTV, stretched res. This is actually to make it faster. All right. So let's see. And then let's see if we can add to the sequence. Alrighty, let's hit go. Very nice. Oh yeah, I see it makes it slower. Let's speed it up. Very nice, very nice. Alrighty, cool. Alrighty, I'm gonna check your project out, Blake. No, not this one. We want to go to Infamous. 09 Infamous. And then after this, we're going to play Flappy Bird. Oh, I played that already. Come on. Let's go here then. We want 09 Infamous. Let's have a look. See for you. Oh, here we go. The epic music. I'm holding it down, so you'll notice that you can hold it down. All right, so let's put in a guitar sequence. Oh, it doesn't. It looks like it hasn't saved your. It hasn't saved your sequence. We do just a really, really, really long sequence. All right, and then we hit go. Kind of sounds like a harp, doesn't it? Alrighty. 20,000, Blake. Goodness me. Alrighty. So, everyone, go away and have a bit of a think on if there were other elements of music you wanted to add in. Just the one thing actually that I was going to talk about that you'll notice is we actually have two ways of playing sounds. Now today we just used start sound. This will start the sound, but if there's code underneath it doing other stuff, it will immediately after the sound starts, it won't wait for the sound to finish before it goes on to doing the rest of the code. So the one thing that I would say that you probably already know, but I'll say it here anyway, is that if you are creating a looped drum beat, so for example, we've got this speaker, and when you click on it, it plays this sound forever. And then it loops. So the sound only goes for like this long. And then it stops. But you can just play it on loop. Now, Scratch, this sounds okay. Sometimes Scratch can not loop it perfectly. You can hear a slight little gap there, but for the most part, this is a really good way of putting backing music in your games. But have you ever made the mistake of putting start sound instead of play sound until done? This is what happens if you do it this way. Because what it does is it starts this drive around song, and then it starts it again and overlaps it with the previous one, and starts it again and overlaps it with the previous one, and starts it again and overlaps it with the previous one, and starts it again and overlaps it with the previous one, forever. So you just end up with just this crazy kind of overlapped sound. Alrighty. So, hopefully that was all useful. Looks like everyone followed this one along. I know that the initial code that I started you off with was pretty crazy, but you can see that while this is complex, it also isn't very big. There's like, it's all fairly straightforward. And this is a really good way of creating a list of things and managing that list of things. So have a bit of a think about how you could use a list in, and have a bit of think of the games that you like to play and where they're using lists as well. So I'm actually running on time for once, so we'll start to wrap things up. So try and work on some games for me for next CoderDojo session, because I'm going to start playing other people's games, playing your games, I should say. I'm going to start playing your games at the beginning of each session while we're waiting for people, because filling that time is a little bit awkward. So I'd really like to spend that time being able to play your games and seeing some of the improvements you've made. So if you've got your own games, or if you've got any of the games that we've made here, go away and add some stuff to them. Add more levels. Add a bunch of levels to your platformer game or your racing game. Add a new mechanic. Add something interesting and test it and get it to, and then at the beginning of the session, I'll be asking for suggestions for games to play. So come and tell me, hey, I've added some extra levels to my platformer game. I'll be like, oh, brilliant, love to play it. And that should be really nice. Oh, yours has a cheat code. Yo-yo cake. Well, we'll quickly do that then. You have a cheat code. Oh, what am I doing? I shouldn't be naming this. Yo-yo cake. I thought that was the search bar. Let's look for yo-yo cake. Come on. Music studio. Cheat code. What's the cheat code? Oh, I see. I see. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So yeah, check each other's games out. Make sure that you, if you aren't a member of the Scratch, if you aren't a member of the studio, then leave me a comment in the YouTube video, or let me know in chat for next session, and I'll add you to the. And if you follow my account, then I'll be able to add you to the studio. I'll be able to invite you to the studio and make you a curator. The studio is the Futures Lab CoderDojo studio. Add your games into this studio. Try and add just your favorite games. Don't just add it just everything. We want this to be like a. But feel free to add your games that you've been working on. I see you guys have all been busy at work. This is great. So here's another important thing. So Monday is Anzac Monday. So it's a public holiday, so there won't be a CoderDojo stream, okay? But on Tuesday, we're going to be doing Breakout, which is like Pong, but with all the bricks that you have to destroy. So that should be a lot of fun. And on Thursday, we're doing, we're doing Platformer Part 3. So next week, Tuesday is Breakout, and Thursday is Platformer Part 3. So if you're keen on Platformer Part 3, make sure that you come along to that one. If your platformer hasn't been going super well, don't worry. I'll give you my code, and you can remix that and keep pace with the stuff that we're adding in. I'm going to see if we can add in coins and collectibles and enemies and that boss battle. We haven't quite gotten to that boss battle yet. So if you want to subscribe and ring the bell, which makes me sound like a terrible YouTuber, you will get notifications of future live streams. And if you come back to this YouTube video once this stream is over, you'll be able to leave comments. Please comment with links to your Scratch projects so that I can play them. I check the YouTube comments every day, and also try and see if you can add something to your game. So we've got some interest, so that we've got like some interesting variation amongst all our versions of the music game. And also in the comments, if there are games you would like me to do tutorials on, like this, in the CoderDojo, leave a comment. Say, hey, Jonathan, can we do a Pokemon game? Or can we do a Final Fantasy game? And I'll be able to add it to the list. So as aside from next Monday, which is Anzac Public Holiday weekend, Anzac Public Holiday, we do streams every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 3:30 p.m. So you guys have a lovely weekend, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. But until then, stay awesome, be cool to each other, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time, ninjas.